city Stannis means to sack. That's your gate he's ramming. If he gets in, it will be your houses he burns. Your gold he steals. Your women he will rape. Those are brave men knocking at our door. Let's go kill them!
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another video in my Fixing Game of Thrones series, which began with a look at Jaime and Varys, and then we went on to cover Dany, Jon, Cersei, and Arya. Today we're moving on to Tyrion. Now to be honest, this is one I almost didn't do, because as I've mentioned before, this series is based on where the show left off in Season 7. It's not taking into account all the problems that started in Season 5, but just showing how we could have still had a decent conclusion in the final season if Dan and Dave hadn't completely tossed in the towel.
I think you've got to start wondering, what the hell is this plot?
The precipitous decline for Tyrion's character began much sooner than the final season, so that's what makes fixing his story one of the most challenging tasks, but it's definitely not the most difficult one. And I'll tell you right now, there will not be one of these on Bran. But with Tyrion, I'm going to take a stab at it. Like with the one I did on Cersei, first we have to look at the problems created by Dan and Dave. Tyrion, of course, was one of the most intelligent characters on the show. If not for him and his plan to defend King's Landing in the Battle of Blackwater Bay, it would have likely been Stannis Baratheon sitting on the Iron Throne. Even though most of his efforts would go unappreciated, it was Tyrion who maintained the Lannisters' grip on power as acting hand of the king, mitigating the damage caused by Joffrey, and steering a coherent and sane path. Although Tywin detested Tyrion, even he recognized his sound judgment and abilities, or he would have never sent him to King's Landing to instill order. If anything, Tywin would have avoided using Tyrion in such a capacity if he could have helped it. Once Tywin resumed his role as Hand of the King, he quickly discarded his son. He was even fine with Tyrion potentially facing death for a murder Tywin knew he didn't commit. Yet Benioff and Weiss took a character with such a superior intellect, one who was excellent at sizing up people and had superior planning skills, and turned him into a useless and at times even pathetic figure.
We have a plan. It's still the right plan.
The right plan. Your strategy has lost us Dawn, the Iron Islands, and the Reach.
If I have underestimated our enemies...
Our enemies? Your family, you mean?
Now, of course, characters don't remain static. They have their ups and downs. It's what the Rocky films were all about. A person who overcomes challenges and emerges on top at the end. But the hurdles they face are clear to the audience. We know what they need to do to get on top, or back on top again. With Tyrion, we're never shown a conflict as to why his plans are failing, and he's increasingly seen as a buffoon. We have no idea what's going on in his head. Is he really hesitant about helping Dany potentially destroy his remaining family members, particularly his brother? Maybe he's having residual guilt for having killed his father. They don't even present him as having lost his sobriety as a reason for the change. Tyrion just becomes stupid and ineffective because it fits the convoluted plot constructed by the showrunners.
We had messed up the most kind of obvious storytelling possibility.
Remember the scene where Tyrion spoke alone with Cersei in Season 7? We never saw how this conversation ended when he returned with her promise to help. There were many fans who thought it meant he had cut some sort of deal with his sister, to possibly even turn on Dany. Why? Because, well, he's the schemer, the smart one with a long plan. But it never turned out that way. Instead of some hidden long game, Tyrion was just foolish and ineffective in his battle plans, along with the ridiculous idea to go north to capture a white to bring to his sister. It's also nonsensical and infuriating to see a once great character go down such a path. So how do you fix this mess? Well, it's not easy. You have to cushion the fall from all these past mistakes. What we need to do is learn about Tyrion's previous motivations through conversations with Jaime at Winterfell. First off, his poor strategic decisions in Season 7 can be chalked up to him being concerned about his brother. He knew that Dany had an overwhelming force and would eventually win no matter what. Once reaching Westeros, he had some second thoughts and concerns about a large foreign army, particularly Dothraki riders, overrunning the continent. So he's looking to even the playing field a bit. Jaime will realize that part of the reason it was so easy for him to take Highgarden was because of Tyrion. He'll ask why his brother did such things with Cersei on the throne. Tyrion will say that he still has no love lost for their sister and is fully committed now to remove her, particularly now that Jaime is with them. Aegon the Conqueror easily took over Westeros with 3 dragons. Dany can certainly still do the same with 2 and against a much smaller force than Aegon faced. Discussion will then turn to the foolish trip that Jon and his small band took north to capture a white. Jaime will ask, did you really think Cersei would go for that? Tyrion will say that he was of 2 minds with that expedition. The first was that Jon was gaining too much influence over Dany and disrupting his plans. Jaime almost died on the Field of Fire, which was a battle that was Jon's idea, and the trip north would get him out of the way. Rumors swirled that Jon was immortal now and able to defeat death. So maybe Tyrion was deciding to put that to the test. Jaime will smile knowingly and say, you sent him into a suicide mission to remove the King of the North? Tyrion will hedge a bit. It's not really sending him if the man agrees to the plan. He might even be believing the things people say about his invincibility. And he did come back, didn't he? Knowing his brother, Jaime won't back down, though, and push for his real intentions. You can just see Tyrion flashing a brief smile and saying he might not have made it if not for Daenerys going to save him. Jaime will still challenge the results of Tyrion's plan by pointing out that it gave the Night King a dragon. Tyrion will then say that he had fought against her going.
So what would you have me do?
Nothing. Sometimes nothing is the hardest thing to do. If you die, we're all lost. Everyone, everything.
And finally, Tyrion will explain that since they actually did get the white, which surprised him, it accomplished his ultimate task. He knew if they were lucky enough, it would convince Jaime to come north to fight the army of the dead, and now out of harm's way for the final taking of King's Landing. So I think this best cleans up the Tyrion mess, and while it's not perfect, it at least reestablishes Tyrion's own agency, intelligence, and ability to think ahead for a larger purpose, instead of the bumbling idiot we were faced with in the final couple of seasons. This also restores a bit of the edge to his character as well, being that he was willing to potentially sacrifice Jon for both his own position and ultimately, if successful, finding a way to pry Jaime away from Cersei. To further build on his restored character, Tyrion would also contribute to a sensible plan for the Winterfell battle. This fall, I'm going to put out a video breaking down everything that was wrong with that battle. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, but for this video, the crux of Tyrion's plan will be to save the people in the north that were not able to fight. And no, a safe place for them will not be in the crypts. Tyrion will look to evacuate Winterfell, moving everyone south to the Twins, which is the best ground to fight a large, overwhelming army like the Night King has, because it's more narrow. A contingent of their army will march there. Part of the Dothraki can help screen the trek there as well. Tyrion will try and convince Dany to join them, but of course, she'll stay for the fight at Winterfell, which will be a defeat for the forces of the living. But it'll also serve as a test how to fight the army of the dead. Their main reason to engage here is to buy time to get everyone else further south, and they need to delay the Night King's advance to protect the Exodus. I've covered all of the endgame in my videos on Jon, Dany, and Cersei. In brief, though, I had both Dany and Jaime dying in the fights against the Night King, with everyone in the end turning to Jon to be king in order to put things together in the aftermath. Like Varys, Tyrion is a survivor, and I would see a place for him on Jon's council, and there will be some irony in that since Tyrion was previously fine with him going beyond the wall to potentially die. In the end, though, all of the surviving players would come together. I'll link the other Fixing Game of Thrones videos below. If you enjoyed this one, hit the like button. And if you're interested in more on A Song of Ice and Fire and House of the Dragon, listen to Caraxes and subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon.